You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hello, and welcome to episode 295 of the Rusted Robot podcast for Sunday, June 14th, 2020.
My name is Optimus Prime.
Hello, I am C-3PO, Human Cyborg Relations.
I am Locutus, a Borg.
You're like a machine underneath, right? But sort of alive outside?
I'm a cybernetic organism, living tissue over a metal endoskeleton.
I'm an android.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
Counterfeit, facsimile, replica.
We need some sort of robot. Ah, crap! I'm some sort of robot.
Hey everybody, it's your host Sean, doing a rare... Oh crap. Hang on. Bleh. Doing a rare solo episode. And what just happened, mind you, I'm out at camp, and it's Sunday morning. You'll be hearing this later in the afternoon or evening sometime. I'm sitting in front of the fire pit, which is not actually burning right now because it's only 10:30 in the morning. And I just dropped my microphone. I may or may not leave that in. But guess what? A few things to talk about. So we're out at camp, and it's a beautiful morning. There's not a cloud in the sky. The sky is sunny and bright blue. There's a slight breeze coming in from the water. There's not too many people awake right now. So yeah, you might be hearing some background sounds, maybe some wind, maybe some flies buzzing around. There might be some four-wheelers going by or some generators being ran to get power to the places. Who knows what's going to happen? It's live on location at Matagami Lakes Campground. Very exciting times. I wish you could be here with me right now. I could be sitting in front of you, regaling you with my knowledge of pop culture while drinking a coffee. So, what's been going on? Well, yesterday Julie and I went on a four-wheeler ride just to see what we could see, maybe find some wood for the fire pit because we're running low. We saw a bear on the highway at the entrance to getting back to the campground. And Julie was scared, and I said, no, just drive up to him, past him, and he'll run away. And she was like, I can't do it. And she was driving down the highway away from campground, and I said, no, just turn around, it'll be fine. And she's like, I don't know, but she did it, and the bear ran away, just like I said. So, what does that tell you? Just listen to Sean. He knows what's going on. Oh, that rhymes. That was pretty good. What else is happening? Rabbits. There are so many rabbits around here. Last night when we were getting ready for bed, I looked out the window as I was closing the blind in the camper trailer thing, and there was a rabbit just sitting in our property. And this morning, when I was sitting out here earlier, a couple hours ago, having a coffee, the dog was getting all crazy, and I looked behind me, and in the next campground, there were two rabbits facing each other about 3 feet apart. I don't know if they were going to have a duel or a tea party or whatnot, but they were just standing there facing each other and just staring each other down. And then one hopped away, and then a few minutes later, the other one hopped away. So lots of nature and frogs or toads. Julie's daughter Malika loves to capture toads, or maybe they're frogs. What's the difference between a frog and a toad? I don't know. I have very spotty internet service out here, so I can't really say. But she likes to catch them and play with them, and then we release them before we leave. Or they hop out of the jar that she has them in, and then she's upset. But there's lots around, so we can find those. So what did we see? We saw bears and rabbits and frogs and lots of bugs. Oh, so many bugs out here at the campground. But that's okay. We got bug spray, and we have sunscreen, and we have our fire pit. And one thing we recently learned is that if you take a tray that you get your coffees in for takeout, and you just light that on fire and blow it out, and the smoke tends to keep the bugs away for the most part. So not too bad. What else can I tell you about the campground here? Not too much. It's a nice weekend, but it doesn't seem like a very busy camping season this time. Last weekend we were here and it was cold and there was way more people. So kind of weird. Let me think. Last night at midnight, I went to turn off the generator because you can't have the generator running between midnight and 9 in the morning. And so I got outside, looked up, way up. The sky was black, and the stars were so intense and so beautiful because there's no light out here except for what you have at your campground generating. with the power, because there's no hydro here, no electricity, except for what you make with the generator. And the stars were freaking amazing, folks. Absolutely amazing. I saw the Big Dipper and all kinds of different things, and if it wasn't so cold, I would have stayed out and probably just sat in this chair that I'm sitting in right now and stared up at the sky and whatever. Because the stars are amazing. I love the stars, but it was cold, and I was in my underwear and a hoodie because I had been sleeping. I had set the alarm to turn it off because, you don't want to get in trouble for breaking the rules. And you can probably hear this four-wheeler coming along. Oh, there he goes. Lots of four-wheelers around here. That's what you do out at camp. But that's not very geeky, is it, guys and girls? No, let me put my coffee down so I don't spill things. Things going on in the world. Let me think here. Let me just put this on pause for a quick second.
Hi, my name's Robert J. Sawyer. I'm an award-winning science fiction writer, and you're listening to the Rusted Robot Podcast. Don't forget to follow them on Twitter.
I thought Julie was coming out to sit with me for a bit, but she's just sweeping out the trailer. So I thought we could have had a co-host, but she's not geeky, so that's not going to happen. But that's okay. Let me think, what else can I tell you? Lots of stuff happening in the world, as you all know, with the protests and the Black Lives Matter and all the different things, the coronavirus, the dogs barking in the background. So what I saw this past week here, actually, well, not here at camp, but just in pop culture land and life in general, speaking of general, the General Lee, NASCAR has banned the Confederate flag from all NASCAR events. And there's a meme going around of some guy named Rob who has the Confederate flag on his car, I guess. Rob C. I can't remember what his name is, and I can't find the article because spotty internet connection out here. But nobody knows who that guy is. But he said, oh, thanks, NASCAR, you've taken everything away from me. Because I guess the Confederate flag is a huge symbol of racism, obviously, because it was the South, and they lost the American Civil War, and all that stuff. What that prompted, actually, was people taking pictures of the General Lee from the Dukes of Hazzard TV show, taking the Confederate flag and turning it into the Pride flag on top of the car instead. What do I know about that? All I know is that when I was a kid, I freaking loved the Dukes of Hazzard. Is it a racist show? You know what? It was made in the 70s and 80s, so probably. I haven't seen it in about 30 years, so I can't really say how racist it was, but it was probably a product of its time. However, I loved the show. They were just good old boys, never meaning no harm. That's a double negative, so maybe they did mean harm? I don't know. I'm not a semiotics professor. I can't break down the meaning of what was going on back in the 70s. All I know is that I loved the show. I only remember one black character, and he was a cop from the next county over, and the Duke boys were always outsmarting the guy, but he was, if I remember correctly, portrayed as a competent guy. He just couldn't catch up to those good old Duke boys. You know, here comes somebody on a side-by-side, and I'm just sitting here with a microphone. That's okay. Doesn't matter. I'm out of camp. I could be doing whatever the heck I want. So anyway, were the Dukes of Hazzard racist? A lot of white characters. I don't know. I'm sure it was sexist. That's where the whole Daisy Dukes term came from for short shorts, because she was a sexualized character, Cousin Daisy. And what else? Boss Hogg and his wife were morbidly obese, and everybody made fun of them for being fat. So that's not something that would go over too well right now, is it? Especially if you listen to episode 155 of the Soul Forge podcast, which I called Fat Shaming Shenanigans, where, as most of you would know by now, the tattoo couple in town here in Timmins made fun of fat people. And pretty much ruined their business. So anyway, that's episode 155 of Soul Forge. Go check it out if you haven't. soulforgepodcast.com. So back to the General Lee and the Dukes of Hazzard and the racism and stuff. I don't know. All I remember is really enjoying that show when I was, 7 or 8 years old. I'd come home from school and I'd watch the thing. What else? I'm going to put this on pause because there's a little kid coming. Hang on 1 second.
Hey, this is Dr. Trek, Larry Nemechek, and you're listening to The Rusted Robot with Sean and Josh and the Rust.
Okay, so this is Julie's daughter. What's your name?
Malika.
And do you like geek stuff?
Sure.
What's your favorite TV shows?
Horse ones.
You like horses?
Uh-huh.
Okay. You also love the Power Rangers, don't you?
I love them.
How come? What's so great about the Power Rangers?
Because they fight. They're learning me how to fight Jonah.
They show you how to fight people?
Like monsters, I can fight Jonah.
Who's Jonah?
My cousin.
And why would you want to fight your cousin?
Because I like fighting and it's so much fun.
You know it's not good for you, right?
Right, but I love it.
Oh, okay. All right. Did you know that my brother Robin used to love Power Rangers when he was your age?
No.
Well, now you know. And you know what knowing is? Knowing is half the battle.
Yeah.
Do you know that knowing is half the battle?
No.
Well, now you do. And do you know what TV show that's from? G.I. Joe. And do you know who G.I. Joe is?
No.
He's a real American hero.
Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you have any clue?
Yeah.
You really don't know, do you? No. Are you excited to be on a podcast?
Yes.
What do you think about podcasts? Have you listened to any podcasts?
No, but I listen to my mom when she hears your podcast.
Oh, because your mom. What's your mom's name?
Julie.
And what does she do? She listens to what podcast?
Your podcast.
Which one?
Sean's podcast.
What's it called? You don't know. You don't know what my podcast is called?
No.
Oh, well, this podcast that we're recording right now, that's the Rusted Robot podcast. Your mom listens to the Soul Forge podcast because your mom does not like geeky things. What do you think about that? Do you think your mom should like geeky things?
Sure.
Should we watch some Star Trek together?
Okay, but I only like Star Trek just a little.
You like it a little bit?
Yeah.
Because what did we do? We watched City on the Edge of Forever, and then we watched Star Trek 2009, and you didn't want to go to bed till it was over.
Yeah.
Wasn't that awesome?
Yes.
I know, right? Yes. So
Right.
Are we going to watch some more Star Trek together?
Only if Mom's in.
Only if Mom's in? Yeah? You think she'll do it?
Yes.
She'll probably play on her phone the whole time, though, right?
Yeah.
I think so, too. What do you think about Star Wars? Do you think she would like to watch some Star Wars?
I like Star Wars a lot.
You do? Who's your favorite character?
The princess.
What's her name?
Princess Leia in Star Wars.
How do you know that?
Because she has buns like in the side.
And you watch the movies?
No.
Oh, but you just know the characters.
Yeah.
Oh.
I like them all.
Okay, so we should probably watch it so you know what the characters are all doing.
And there's also a big fuzzy man that has fur all over him.
And what's his name?
I don't remember.
Chewbacca. I can't do the sound, but...
Yeah. Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Then they fight with a sword. Chew, chew.
Well, it's not a sword. It's a lightsaber.
I know.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Oh. What's your grandma doing over there?
She is putting some stuff in the fire, I guess.
Oh, okay. All right. You don't have to talk right into the microphone. It can hear you from where you are. See?
Yeah.
See, if you look at the iPad as it's recording, those are all the words that we're saying, and that's the spikes. So why don't you say something and look? So say, my name is Malika, and I love the Rusted Robot podcast.
My name is Malika, and I like the Rusted Robot podcast.
See? Very good. Isn't that awesome? And
Yes.
you recommend it to all viewers and listeners and people of all ages?
Sure.
Because everybody should listen to Rusted Robot, right?
Right.
Did you know that the Rusted Robot podcast is a proud part of the ESO network?
No, because I'm a kid and I don't really know, but all I know is that I know about horses, bunnies, dogs, and all that kind of animals.
And the frogs are the toads, right?
Yeah,
Were we catching frogs or toads? Which ones were they? Were they frogs or toads?
there were frogs.
How do you know? What's the difference?
Because toads and frogs look the same thing, but I can tell because
Because you're smart.
I'm smart.
Okay. Well, you know what we're going to do right now?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to play a promo for another podcast right here on the ESO network.
Wow!
Check out what's been going on with the Pop Culture Cosmos Show and the PCC Multiverse.
You know how Disney kind of like puts films on an assembly line, but you know that when you're getting something from Pixar, because it takes so long to craft, that there's a lot of care put into it.
That's the Pop Culture Cosmos Show.
And the PCC Multiverse.
Playing worldwide on radio 7 days a week, your favorite podcast app, and right here on the ESO Network.
And didn't you love that? That is the Pop Culture Cosmos podcast, which everybody should be checking out and listening to.
Right.
You know that, eh? Are you gonna go down? Are you gonna go download all the episodes right now? No, you can't because there's no internet out here.
Yeah. Well, we can do it when you get home, so I can listen to your podcasts.
Yeah, all the podcasters.
Yeah,
right?
That I missed.
Did you know that I recently discovered another podcast?
Yeah.
You knew that? No, you didn't, because I didn't tell anybody. Silly. Well, Dan Klink, who does another podcast here on the ESO Network, has started up with Mark McRae the Best Saturdays of Our Lives podcast. That's not on the ESO Network. But I binged all the episodes, and you know what they talk about?
What?
They talk about Saturday morning cartoons from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and 90s. Because when I was your age, we used to be able to watch cartoons Saturday morning, and look at the little bird on the tree behind us. You see him?
Yeah.
Oh, he's pretty cool.
He's flying to a tree.
He's flying all around. And did you see the squirrels climbing up the trees earlier today?
No, because was I out here?
You weren't out here. No, but we saw one last night climbing into Paper's garage.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny, eh?
And we saw also a bunny, but Sean wouldn't want to go get it because the bunny would scratch, but it's not true.
I think if I chased down a wild rabbit, it would scratch me in the face.
How funny is that?
That would be hilarious, right? Especially if I lost an eyeball.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I would be sad because I could only half watch the Best Saturdays of Our Morning Life cartoon things. You know?
Yeah.
So what you should do is go check out the Best Saturdays of Our Lives podcast.
Yeah.
And you can learn all about cartoons from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Yeah.
Something like Voltron and Thundercats and He-Man and Johnny Quest and Black Star and all kinds of other ones. Some I had never even heard of.
Yeah, but hey guys, why don't you guys just catch a bunny and if they try to scratch you, drop them and run away and maybe take a baby instead.
A bunny baby? A baby bunny?
Yeah.
You think that's a good idea?
Sure, if the mom is not around.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea.
Yeah, we'll probably back to the mom is always around, maybe.
Oh, you never know. You never know. Hey, did you know, speaking of podcasts, that Dan and Paul and I recently recorded episode 2 of the Cosmic Pizza podcast?
I never know.
You didn't know that one either, did you?
No. All I know is that you do all I know is that you do different podcasts, like Star Trek podcasts, which is our favorite podcast, and also other podcasts, which I never got a podcast with you since I was a baby, because Mom didn't even know you yet.
Well, I only met you 4 months ago.
Yeah.
So really, yeah. So the Cosmic Pizza podcast, the first episode is supposed to premiere June 24th. That's only 10 days from now.
I know, right?
How exciting is that?
Really, I guess?
It's super exciting. Yeah, I bet you can't wait to listen to all those episodes.
Okay.
If you're loving this podcast, you should tell a friend about it.
Spread the word about podcasts you think they would enjoy. There's something for everyone, from entertainment and lifestyle
to news and politics
and more. Share it on social media. Believe it or not, some people don't know how great podcasts are,
or even how to find and listen to them.
You can help change that with a click. Tell your friends about your favorite podcast.
Thanks for spreading the word.
Okay, so Pepper just took her away to check on the boat to make sure it hasn't sunk. So now is a perfect time to talk about this week's celebrity death of the week. And this time it's legendary Batman writer Denny O'Neil, who died at the age of 81. And I'm just going to read the article here. He died on the night of June 11th. O'Neil was best known for his work on Batman, which included writing Batman, Detective Comics and Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, as well as editing DC's Batman titles from 86 to 2000. He and editor Julius Schwartz and artist Neil Adams are credited for guiding the Dark Knight back to his darker roots after a period of campiness brought on by the success of the 1960s Batman TV series. During his time on Batman, he created or co-created Ra's al Ghul, Talia al Ghul, Leslie Tompkins, Azrael, and Richard Dragon. He was also involved in the revitalization of the Joker and Two-Face as modern DC villains, and oversaw the death of Jason Todd, the second Robin. Alongside Adams, O'Neil also reinvigorated the characters of Green Arrow and Green Lantern by pairing them up as best friends and hard-traveling heroes who ventured the country, righting wrongs while exploring complex issues of politics and social justice. One of the first comic book runs to do so in a nuanced way. Also at DC, he wrote the iconic Superman vs. Muhammad Ali one-shot, the Armageddon 2001 event, as well as memorable runs on Justice League and The Question. O'Neil also enjoyed a fruitful stint at Marvel, writing Amazing Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Daredevil, and was involved in the creation of Madam Web, Hydro Man, Obadiah Stane, Lady Deathstrike, and the concept for the Transformers, including naming Optimus Prime. During his time editing at Marvel, he was the one who hired then-newcomer Frank Miller to take over the Daredevil title. The writer also branched out to TV, writing episodes of Logan's Run, Superboy, Batman the Animated Series, and G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. In addition to writing and editing, O'Neil taught at Manhattan School of Visual Arts, was on the Heroes Initiative Board of Directors, and wrote the instructional book, The DC Guide to Writing Comics. Late in his career, O'Neil was recognized in a broad sense for his accomplishments. The Jimmy Carter Presidential Library honored him as the key speaker at its Comic Books and Social Justice Weekend in December 2018, and the city of Phoenix, Arizona proclaimed May 25, 2019 Dennis O'Neil Day in recognition of his impact both in the comic industry and to American society in general. So that is definitely a sad blow to the comic book industry. Now, a lot of you listening probably know who Denny O'Neil was. I never heard of the guy. I don't read comics. I've got a bunch, and I've read some, but I don't know that much about it. But this is a big deal, so it's very sad. What else is going on? Well, as you may have heard, the PlayStation 5 console has finally been revealed. And how exciting is that? If you've seen the pictures, you know that it's an upright console. It has been parodied quite a bit. It's been compared to the Xbox Series X as well in its specs and so on. But have you seen the memes for the PlayStation 5? I'm sure you have. A lot of people are saying it looks like the Tower and the Eye of Sauron. Other people have turned it into cats because it looks like it has two little ears at the top. And people are having fun with it. And it's supposed to be released later this year. Does that matter for me? No, not really. I haven't bought a console since 2004 when I bought the first original Xbox in translucent green. So I don't really play that many. I used to all the time when I was a kid. My favorite game of all time, as you may or may not know, is Rock and Roll Racing from the Super Nintendo. That's an amazing game. Great soundtrack.
Yeah, it's time to burn rubber with Rock and Roll Racing. 1 or 2 player action sends you to 6 different planets. Pick your racing machines and choose your awesome weapons. And blow away the competition. With world-famous race announcer Larry Supermouth Hoffman at the mic and some of the greatest rock and roll music of all time, it's time to slam it into gear. With laser cannons, cluster bombs, and super boosters, destroy your opponents. So back off, wimps.
But yeah, so PlayStation 5 comes out later this year. And looking through the Facebook page for Rusted Robot, what else have we got going on here? Not too much, but there is some kind of big news gang, folks, group, Rusties. Bill and Ted Face the Music teases a most excellent sequel. I'm going to play the teaser trailer for the 3rd film in the Bill and Ted franchise.
25 years ago, you played a concert in front of the entire world. 1 month ago, you played in Barstow, California for 40 people, most of whom were there for $2 taco night. Bill and Ted, what have you got to say for yourselves?
Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes.
You were supposed to unite the world and save reality as we know it.
Bill, we've spent our whole life trying to write the song that will unite the world. Why can't we just go to the future when we have written it?
Whoa! And take it from ourselves!
But isn't that stealing?
How is that stealing if we're stealing it from ourselves, dude?
No way!
How'd you like our song?
It's a little on the dark side, but you know, that's cool.
And isn't that awesome? Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm just going to click on the link here, see if the internet will work here, because it worked for the Denny O'Neil thing, so I might be sitting in a good spot. So 29 years after their last appearance together, Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves are finally returning to their roles as the eponymous time-traveling slackers. Face the Music picks up with the pair, now middle-aged dads, as they're visited by a messenger from the future, who tells them they have 78 minutes to write their hit song or the universe is doomed. Excellent and bogus adventure writers Chris Matheson and Bill Solomon, along with Winter, Reeves, and director Dean Pariseau, who directed Galaxy Quest, spent years trying to make the movie happen, so the hope is the end result will be worth all their efforts. And if you've seen the trailer, or just heard it now, I think it is going to be worth their efforts, but it says here in the article, with theaters only beginning to end their coronavirus lockdowns, many are doubting Bill and Ted Face the Music's ability to hit its scheduled release date in August. It's speculated the film could end up going straight to video on demand, which is sad, should a full-blown theatrical run be deemed unfeasible. Either way, Ryan Pictures needs to start building awareness for the sequel now, ahead of its arrival. And speaking of movies being moved around, you remember how Wonder Woman 1984 was supposed to come out November 2019? That didn't happen, did it? No. And then it was supposed to be in June. That didn't happen. It's supposed to be out right now, I think, actually. Then they moved it to August. Well, now it's being moved to October 2nd of this year. This coronavirus is really messing with all kinds of things. So will we see it this year? Will we see it in theaters? I certainly hope so. Gal Gadot, in the article that I read earlier, says it's well worth the wait. Patty Jenkins says it's not a reboot, it's definitely a sequel. It takes place in, of course, 1984 during the end of the Cold War. And Chris Pine, I said that wrong, Chris Pine is reprising his role as Steve Trevor, who died in World War I in the first movie. So there's definitely some funky stuff going on. What's going on? I don't really know. Can't say. Haven't seen it. But I'm looking forward to it. Much like I'm looking forward to seeing Black Widow if that ever comes out. I don't know if it's ever going to, but who could say? So what else is going on here? I'm just going to scroll through Facebook to see if there's any updated news or whatever. So far, I'm not seeing anything exciting.
Hi, this is Admiral Adama, Battlestar Galactica, saying you're listening to the Rusted Robot Podcast. Think about it.
Nope, there's nothing, at least nothing that I'm getting through Facebook, just in the scrolling. But like I said, the internet connection out here is pretty bad. San Diego Comic-Con virtual convention to be free, set for July 22nd. So there's no Comic-Con this year, but you can watch what they are having panel-wise, I guess, for free in just over a month. So that's pretty exciting. Actually, I might as well just read the entire article because it's pretty good. It's in-depth. San Diego Comic-Con has revealed its plans for Comic-Con at Home, announcing free and unlimited attendance for the virtual convention, which is now set to take place July 22nd to the 26th. Earlier this year, San Diego Comic-Con was officially canceled due to the coronavirus pandemic. A virtual version of the convention was announced shortly after to fill the void left by the popular annual event. San Diego Comic-Con has now announced its plans for its first ever virtual convention, which will be free for all. For the first time in our 50-year history, we are happy to welcome virtually anyone from around the globe, said SDCC spokesperson David Glanzer. Though stay-at-home conditions makes this a very difficult time, we see this as an opportunity to spread some joy and strengthen our sense of community. Well, San Diego Comic Convention will not be hosting the pop culture convention as it has traditionally for the last 51 years. The comiccon at Home initiative will still feature aspects of the traditional convention, such as the online exhibit hall, offering promotions, specials, and limited edition products, which is cool. Who doesn't want a limited edition product? I should probably look into that, so I have some collectibles of the week to talk to you guys about on the podcast. In addition, Comic-Con at Home will also be host to exclusive panels and presentations related to comics, gaming, television, film that the convention has become known for. But that's not all, as Comic-Con at Home will also have a masquerade, gaming, and other activities for attendees to participate in. It's set for July 22nd to the 26th. While attendance is free, San Diego Comic-Con will provide badges for fans to print out and wear as they log in for the virtual convention. That's kind of a neat idea. As of now, San Diego Comic-Con will return for its traditional in-person convention July 22nd, 2021. Who knows what's going to happen? That's very exciting. So at least they're doing something. We'll still get our pop culture fix of what's happening and coming out in the next little while. According to TrekMovie.com, there's an interview with Tom Constantino and David Goodman on how The Orville Season 3 will be a barn burner. I'm not going to pull that up, but apparently it's going to be pretty awesome. We've got a George Carlin documentary in the works from Judd Apatow. That looks to be it for all the scrolling that I can find. Strawberry rhubarb cake recipe. I don't think you guys want me to read you that. Nope, that's pretty much it. So I know this is a shorter than usual episode. They've all been shorter in the last little while since the whole coronavirus pandemic thing. However, last week I did happen to run into Josh at the 101 Mall. He's missing podcasting as much as I'm missing co-hosting with him. So hopefully, now that we're allowed to have groups of 10 people and most of the places have opened up in a limited capacity around here, we can actually go ahead and maybe do some podcasting together. I'm not sure how that's going to work out exactly, since I spend every weekend at camp now, and we normally recorded 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays, but since I'm out here and there's no Skyping abilities from the cottage or the camp or whatever you want to call this place, not sure what's going to happen. Maybe we'll record Thursday nights. I don't know, but that's for future us to worry about. Oh, you know what happened? Josh's wife, Kitty, who owns the Jump City comic book store, they opened up this past Friday. Of course, I left to come to camp, so I didn't get to go there because I was working all day, and then I came to camp. But they're open now, so go to the 101 Mall in Timmins, 38 Pine Street North, and go buy some comic books and collectibles and different things. Support local listeners. Do all the things, okay? So I guess that's it. Don't be racist to each other. Watch some Star Trek, watch some Star Wars, get your geek on. Leave a 5-star review in the podcast store. You can support the podcast by going to ko-fi.com/rustedsoul. That's coffee.com/rustedsoul. You can buy us a coffee to help support the what's it called? The hosting fees, because it's June and I think I get charged in July. So if you're enjoying the show and you have some extra money to spend, go to coffee.com/rustedsoul. The link is on the Facebook, no, not the Facebook page, the website, which is therustedrobot.podbean.com. Actually, all of our links are there. You can find us on our YouTube channel and subscribe. You can leave a 5-star review by following the iTunes link. I think the Twitter link is on there. I think there's even a link for the Soulforge podcast, because if you haven't listened to Soulforge, you're missing out. And in 10 days, you can start listening to Cosmic Pizza podcast, which I hope you'll do. But until next time, thanks for spending about a half an hour here at the Rusted Robot headquarters. And remember, only a Sith deals in absolutes. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Rusted Robot podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. Remember that you can visit therustedrobot.podbean.com for all of our social media links, and don't forget to share the show with everyone you know. The Rusted Robot podcast is your best source for geek-style pop culture news.
I could do this all day.
What is that? There's something hopping around on the ground.
Is that a frog or a toad? Well, we're going to need to know more to figure that out. Let's find out the differences between a frog and a toad. Toads and frogs are very similar animals in many ways. They're amphibians that belong to the Anura group of animals. Most frogs and toads start their life in water as a tadpole. From there, they grow legs and lose the tail that helps them swim. Splitting the difference. There are more than 6,000 different species of frogs and toads. True frogs and true toads come from different animal families. How can you tell them apart? Scientists argue about this quite a bit. Most true frogs need to live near water to keep their skin wet. Their skin has a thin coat of mucus to help it stay wet. Most toads don't need water nearby to live because they have bumpy, dry skin. Many toads also have warts. Body type. Toads usually have a wider body than frogs. Their legs are also shorter than most frogs, which means they hop differently. In general, the longer a frog or toad's back legs, the farther they can hop. Most toads take smaller hops because of their body shape. Poison pear. Frogs are food for many animals. To stay safe, some give off a poison from their skin. Poison dart frogs are bright colors that tell predators to stay away. Many toads, like the cane toad, also have poison glands behind their eyes. Interesting eggs. Another way to tell frogs and toads apart is how they lay their eggs. Most true toads lay eggs next to one another, making long chains. Frogs lay their eggs together in clusters or groups that look like grapes. What's in a name? Toads can sometimes have smooth skin, and some frogs can live away from water. There's even a frog that lives in the desert. The Australian water-holding frog hides underground to keep its skin from drying out. A toad can sometimes be called a frog, and a frog can sometimes be called a toad. Even more confusing, frogs can have warts and toads can have slimy skin. Though you can't even trust their names, both animals are fun to learn about.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.